Good morning. The chime of the bell beckons us into a sacred time. Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Houston, where we widen love's circle by honoring the inherent worth and dignity of all. We extend a heartfelt and inclusive invitation to join us in meaningful worship and in service to the world. Buenos días y bienvenidos a esta comunidad donde ampliamos el círculo del amor, honrando el valor y la dignidad inherente de todos. We greet all those who join us this morning. We hope those watching from the live stream will fill out the online attendance form and refer to the many announcements in the online order of service. Tomorrow is International Transgender Day of Visibility, and today's service will celebrate transgender people and their contributions to society. We ask those here in person to take a moment to check in by scanning the QR code on the front of your order of service. Then, after the service, seek out and introduce yourself to someone you don't yet know. We have visitors every Sunday. Please make them feel welcome. Now, please join Emily Lopeter-Smith and the Sanctuary Choir for our first hymn.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I invite you to turn in your gray hymnals to hymn 318, We Would Be One, and please rise in body or in spirit.
This call to worship was written for Transgender Day of Visibility by Sharon Wiley. We speak so often of brokenness in religious life. Let us speak today of wholeness. You are welcome here, all of you, every part of you beautiful just the way you are. Here you do not need to be something more or something less, no holding back, no hiding. No exerting yourself, no trying to do more or be more. You have inherent worth and dignity. Nothing to prove here. Nothing to prove to me or the person sitting next to you or the children or to anyone. You don't have to try and be witty or more quiet or more outgoing. You are beautiful, every part of you beautiful, just the way you are. You do not need to change anything about yourself to be welcome here. Your skin, your hair, your belly, your limbs, your face, all beautiful just the way you are. You are extraordinary. Each and every one of you different from each and beautiful in your own beautiful way. Breathtaking. Let us worship together.
Please join me in reading the congregational covenant found in the order of service. Love is the spirit of our congregation. Service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to encourage one another, thus do we covenant.
Last week or the week before, Carol shared with me this storybook, and I really decided I liked it. It became one of my favorites real quickly. And I was like, you know what, Sunday would be the perfect time for you to read that. And she's like, well, I'm not there Sunday. They were like, then in the staff meeting, they said, well, if it's one of your favorite stories, why don't you ask your favorite person to read it? So that's what I did. So my husband Conrad is going to read the story today. And if there are young people in the audience who would like to get up even closer and listen to the story, we would love for you to be right here on the channel and be able to listen to him. And for the folks in the back, they're going to put it on the screen as well. So head on up and he'll start reading.
Good morning. There's pictures here and there's pictures up top as well. Yes. There once lived a penguin. His home was a nice, icy land he shared with his companions. His companions were named Godly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect. His name was Tacky. Tacky was an odd bird. Every day, Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect greeted each other quietly and politely. Tacky greeted them with a hearty slap on the back and a loud, "What's happening?" Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect always marched. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tacky always marched 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 6, 0, 2.5, and 0. His companions were graceful divers. Tacky liked to do splashy cannonballs. Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect always sang pretty songs like Sunrise on the Iceberg. Tacky always sang songs like How many toes does a fish have? Tacky was an odd bird. One day, the penguins heard the thump, thump, thump of feet in the distance. This could only mean one thing. Hunters had come. They came with maps and traps and rocks and locks, and they were rough and tough. As the thump, thump, thump drew closer, the penguins could hear the growling voices chanting, "We're going to catch some pretty penguins, and we'll march them with a switch, and we'll sell them for $1 and get rich, rich, rich." Goodly, Lovely, Angel, Neatly, and Perfect ran away in fright. They hid behind a block of ice. Tacky stood alone. The hunters marched right up to him, chanting, "We're going to catch some pretty penguins, and we'll march them with a switch, and we'll sell them for $1 and then get rich, rich, rich." "What's happening?" blared Tacky, giving one hunter an especially hearty slap on the back. They growled, "We're hunting for penguins. That's what's happening." "Penguins?" said Tacky. "Do you mean those birds that march neatly in a row?" And he marched 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 6, 0, 2.5, and 0. The hunters looked puzzled. "Do you mean those birds that dive so gracefully?" Tacky asked. And he did a splashy cannonball. The hunters looked wet. "Do you mean those birds that sing such pretty songs?" Tacky began to sing, and from behind the block of ice came the voices of his companions, all singing as loudly and dreadfully as they could. "How many toes does a fish have? And how many wings on a cow? I wonder, yup, I wonder." The hunters could not stand the horrible singing. This could not be the land of the pretty penguins. They ran away with their hands clasped tightly over their ears, leaving behind their maps and traps, rocks and locks, and not looking at all rough and tough. Goodly, lovely, angel, neatly, and perfect, hugged Tacky. Tacky was an odd bird, but a very nice bird to have around. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you all for coming up and listening. That was fun. All righty, now the young folks are going to go out and do some really cool projects and some activities. Are you leading them out, Amelia? Okay. Amelia is the person who, along with some others, are going to take them out. And what I'm asking the adults who stay behind to do is to find in your order of service as you go and sing it. Thank you. We also thank the Sanctuary Choir for singing at both services. I really enjoyed them today. During these times, we have come to realize we must listen intentionally and in prescribed doses. It would be easy to become overwhelmed by clamor of the news cycle and the cacophony of social media. And so we welcome a time to quietly breathe together in community and enjoy the silence. With intention and care, we carve out this time to enter into a time of stillness, a time that may bring us new peace and understanding. This is a time that some call meditation and others name prayer. This morning, I share a prayer for my queer and trans siblings by Jess Reynolds. Here you are, here in this holy space, standing on this ground that is holy because you are here. Here you are in flesh and bone, filling up this body that belongs to you alone. Your pumping heart is a wonder because it keeps you alive. Your loving heart is a blessing because it keeps all of us alive. The Spirit of love has a home in you. May we see that love in you and let our hearts become mirrors for the compassion at your core. The Spirit of justice has a home in you. May we light our wicks from one another until we are all aflame, until we burn out every prejudice we carry in these bones. Here you are, holy as you are. Blessed be. We pause now together to lift up that which sits heavy and light on our hearts. Marilyn King has improved during her hospital stay and is now being moved to a skilled nursing facility. We pray for the more than 3,400 injured, 140 missing, and the families of the more than 1,644 dead due to the 7.7 magnitude earthquake in Myanmar. We pray for all those employees and their families who continue to lose their livelihoods due to unwise and callous cutbacks. We pray for the most vulnerable around the world who are losing the vital support that once prevented disease and starvation. Individuals who have spoken out in ways unpopular with the administration have been abducted and sent to unverifiable locations without due process. We pray for these individuals who were in the United States legally and their bewildered and grieving families. We stand with the thousands of transgender service members who sacrificed and risked their lives to ensure equal protection, only to have a draft dodger fire them and deny their contributions. And while I'm here, I want to put in a good word for U of H this afternoon. We now turn to a practice inspired by African, indigenous, and pagan traditions. We say aloud or bring to mind those who we wish to be held by the loving embrace of this community. They are part of the great cloud of witness and memory, and we will, even if we do not know their names, hold them in our hearts. In this great cloud of witness and memory, amid this beloved community, we hear these names and hold them in our hearts. Let us remember the suffering and joy amid and among our community that we do not know. We now enter into a time of stillness. Morgan Freeman tells us learning how to be still, to really be still and let life happen. That stillness becomes a radiance. In the spirit of love, hope, and compassion, we invite that radiance to enter into a time of silent prayer, meditation, and transformation.
Each week, our morning offering is shared with an organization that shares our Unitarian Universalist values and through which we may live out our principles in the world. This week, we are donating to Barrio Dogs. Barrio Dogs has been working in Houston's Greater East End since 2010 with the mission of raising awareness about proper animal care and the importance of spaying and neutering pets. This morning, we welcome Ms. Gloria Centeno to tell us more.
I'll say good morning even though it's almost afternoon. But hi, everybody. I want to thank the First Unitarian Church for inviting us to be a part of this beautiful service today. I have to mention I'm feeling very moved today. We've actually been here before. We were invited to the vegan potluck where we gave a presentation, so you guys, some of you may have met us then. But as Letty mentioned, my name is Gloria Centeno. I'm the founder and president of Barrio Dogs, which means neighborhood, although we help cats too. So I'm a native Houstonian. I grew up in the East End, actually Second Ward. My family goes back nearly 100 years in that community, so I really care about that neighborhood and, quite frankly, the city of Houston. My husband and I moved back to the old community where we grew up about 20 years ago, but I was horrified with the amount of stray dogs, dogs on chains, pregnant mamas, dead animals in the streets, and I would go to my really great job at that time, only 10 or 15 minutes away in the Galleria, and I would see a totally different life over there. People walking their animals on leashes, and they were happy and healthy and little outfits and drinking their Starbucks. And I would come home to these tragedies every day, and I just felt compelled that I had to do something. Although I got involved with quite a few rescue groups, and I admire them very much, I just felt like we weren't getting to the root causes. And so for Barrio Dogs, we focus on pet education in schools, primarily pre-K and elementary, although we do middle school and high school, and that's all over the city of Houston. We provide free spay, neuter, vaccination, and microchips to pet owners that can't afford it. We do advocacy work. We are constantly meeting with our elected officials, even on the state level. We were actually in Austin this past week, and this is where, for Humane Lobby Day, and this is where animal advocates all across the state come to the Capitol to be a unified voice to improve animal welfare. And it was sad to hear that Houston still ranks #1 as worst in the state for animal welfare. So we have a big job ahead of us. I'm committed, my team is committed. We just celebrated 15 years. I care about my community, and I'm dug in. I plan to keep doing this work for as long as I can. I didn't share earlier at the service that we are having our Spring Fix-It, where we provide free spay, neuter, vaccination, and microchip to pet owners in the East End on Saturday, April 12th. We're always looking for volunteers, so if you're interested, please let me know. I'll be staying after, and also we'll be back next Sunday, and I plan to try to bring a few of my team members so that they can get to know everybody here. So thank you. I'm so grateful for your support. Thank you so much.
Those in our sanctuary will find the instructions for text giving in the order of service next to the name of the shared offering recipient. And those watching the live stream will see the instructions on your screen. Our regular Sunday morning offering collection invites us to weave a tapestry of love and action. We ask that you give generously. An offering will now gratefully be received.
My mama told me when I was young, we were all born superstars. She rolled my hair, put my lipstick on in the glass of her boudoir. There's nothing wrong with loving who you are, she said, 'cause he made you perfect, babe. go far. Listen to me when I say I'm beautiful in my way, 'cause God makes no mistakes. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Don't hide yourself in regret, just love yourself and you're set. I'm on the right track, baby, I was born this way. Ooh, there ain't no other way, baby, I was born this way. Baby, I was born this way.
Please join me in saying the dedication to the offering, which can be found in your order of service. To the work of this church, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our lives and these our offerings. The first reading this morning is an excerpt from the Utah Governor Spencer J. Cox's letter explaining the reasoning behind his veto of House Bill 11. Finally, there's one more important reason for this veto. I must admit, I'm not an expert on transgenderism. I struggle to understand so much of it, and the science is conflicting. When in doubt, however, I always try to err on the side of kindness, mercy, and compassion. I also try to get proximate, and I am learning so much from our transgender community. There are kids who face enormous struggles. Here are the numbers that have most impacted my decision. 75,000, 4, 1, 86, and 56. 75,000 high school kids participating in high school sports in Utah. 4 transgender kids playing high school sports in Utah. 1 transgender student playing girls' sports. 86% of trans youth reporting suicidality. 56% of trans youth having attempted suicide. 4 kids and only 1 of them playing girls' sports. That's what all this is about. 4 kids who aren't dominating or winning trophies or taking scholarships. 4 kids who are just trying to find some friends and feel like they are a part of something. 4 kids trying to get through each day. Rarely has so much fear and anger been directed at so few. I don't understand what they're going through or why they feel the way they do, but I want them to live. And all the research shows that even a little acceptance and connection can reduce suicidality significantly. For that reason, as much as any other, I have taken this action in the hope that we can continue to work together and find a better way. If a veto override occurs, I hope we can work to find ways to show these 4 kids that we love them and they have a place in our state. Here ends the first reading.
Second reading. The second reading is from comments made by actress Miriam Margolyes on The Graham Norton Show. I'm decisive, but I can change my mind. Well, you know this thing about trans. Now all these people say you mustn't talk about trans. Well, never mind that. I'm going to talk about that. I was very keen on grammar, so when people started talking about pronouns and that they wanted them and not he, she, I thought, what in the world are they talking about? It's clear, it's grammar, it is the structure of language. But I met a wonderful actress in Australia, Zoe Turcatis. She's a brilliant actress and she's trans. And she had a discussion with me about it and said, "What's it matter to you if you can make someone happy by calling them they instead of he or she? Why not do it?" And I thought, that's right. It doesn't matter about grammar. If you can make someone happy and give them a sense of themselves, then do it. And so now I'm someone who uses they and all the rest of it. Whatever they want me to say, I'll say it. Here ends the second reading.
Hymnals and turn to number 1053. And please join me in body or spirit.
How could anyone ever tell you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul. How could anyone ever tell you were anything less than beautiful? How could anyone ever tell you were less than whole? How could anyone fail to notice that your loving is a miracle? How deeply you're connected to my soul.
Well, it's all going to plan. Not my plan, of course, and I suspect not your plan either, unless you happen to be a billionaire. If that's the case, I want to take you to lunch and talk about tithing. My plan would be that everyone could be their authentic, beautiful selves, the self created in the image of the divine, and live their most authentic life in peace, loving whom they love without repercussion. Shanakatska Tari, the professor, sexuality educator, and activist, tells us, when you show up as your authentic self, whatever that may be, you allow others to do the same, creating the world we all deserve. Their plan was acknowledged well before the election. 47 dropped hints in his stream of unconsciousness speeches. Project 2025, the 900-plus page policy book detailing how a second Trump administration would overhaul the federal government, was posted online well before the election. Paul Dans, a lawyer and chief architect of Project 2025, is thrilled that the second Trump administration appears to be following the controversial blueprint. It's actually beyond my wildest dreams, he told Politico. Their plan was to dismantle departments, expand his executive authority, put an end to diversity, equity, and inclusion practices, and purge the federal workforce and replace them with political appointees. Thousands are losing their jobs. Even those here legally are being deported without due process. And federal funds are being funneled from those who pay taxes and need assistance to the ultra-wealthy. These billionaires dance with chainsaws, ignore the outrage, and politicians attempt to justify their actions. As blatant as their intentions were, they couldn't run solely on making the wealthy wealthier. They had to have some diversions for those who were not billionaires to latch onto. That way, once they regained power, they would have something to point to as they absconded with the country's wealth and aligned themselves with other dictators. As is so often the case, they settled upon the culture wars as a distraction. In a December sermon, I looked ahead to what 2025 might bring us. To no one's surprise, I referenced a movie musical and shared a quote by the wizard who confided in Elphaba. When I first got here, there was a discord and discontent. And where I come from, everyone knows that the best way to bring folks together is to give them a good enemy. Something similar happens in another movie musical, and I share this admittedly imperfect analogy. In Beauty and the Beast, a selfish but handsome prince is turned into a beast due to his cruel behavior. And in yet another instance of the working class paying for the sins of the wealthy, his servants are turned into household objects, albeit singing and dancing ones. The village's beautiful bookworm, Belle, falls in love with the beast's library, several songs prior to falling in love with him. Gaston, the town bully, jealous of Belle's literacy and the beast, riles up the townsfolk in order to destroy his competition. Gaston, not letting facts stand in the way of a good demonization, tells them, "The beast will make off with your children. He'll come after them in the night. We're not safe until his head is mounted on my wall. I say we kill the beast." Grabbing flaming torches and pitchforks, the town people are quickly on board. We don't like what we don't understand, and in fact, it scares us. And this monster is mysterious, at least. Let's kill the beast. As I said, this is an imperfect analogy, except for the fact that those looking for love and to simply live their lives are being demonized by others who are being cruel and jealous. But I share this synopsis to highlight the lyric, "We don't like what we don't understand, and in fact, it scares us." A lack of understanding, coupled with fright, are a perfect place to create a really good enemy and manipulate the masses. There's been quite a lot of a lack of understanding being reported in the news. An English teacher got an angry email from a parent saying they could not believe they were taking the students on a field trip where they would learn about being trans. Well, of course, the students were being taken to Walden Pond to learn about the transcendentalist, Henry David Thoreau. In his speech to Congress, 47 declared DOGE had uncovered the Biden administration's waste of $8 million for making mice transgender. In reality, they are transgenic mice, and they play an important and pivotal role in research. His minions maintain it was just a slip of the tongue, but I'm not buying that. I'd trust gas station sushi before I'd trust their analysis. Trans is, of course, a prefix, which variously means across, beyond, through, or changing thoroughly. My father worked for TWA, Trans World Airlines, for over 30 years and never once fielded a complaint about transgender people as either passengers or employees of the airline. So defying science, logic, and decades of research and forsaking kindness, in January, 47 signed an executive order intended to recognize only the binary. It asserts a new legal definition of sex that strips federal recognition of the gender identity of some 1.6 million trans and non-binary Americans. The order requires federal departments to recognize gender as an immutable male-female binary determined by biological sex assigned at conception that cannot be changed. But in reality, all embryos are filled with both male Y and female X chromosomes at conception. Gender doesn't reveal itself until at least 18 weeks later, and even then, it's sometimes hard to tell whether it's a girl or a boy, or a baby with the sexual characteristics of both. But his alleged heart wasn't even into this ignorance and cruelty. He admitted on camera that the only reason he stoked transgender issues was the election. He is quoted as saying, "I said don't bring up that subject because there's no election right now. But about a week before the election, bring it up." But the townspeople are not so quick to lay down their flaming torches and pitchforks. It was asserted for so long this hatred of the other was the reason for the election, they now wanted it acted upon. So he signed the executive order. We don't like what we don't understand, and in fact, it scares us. So, let me provide a little understanding. In the world of the binary, which is against all reason and religion being codified into law, things are pretty simple, black and white. But as thoughtful people know, life is lived in shades of gray. The binary tells us boys are boys and feel like boys inside and look like boys on the outside and have crushes on girls. Snips, snails, and puppy dog tails. Similarly, girls are girls, feel like girls on the inside, look like girls on the outside, and have crushes on boys. Sugar and spice and everything nice. Except this flies in the face of both casual observation and science. Boys aren't always clearly boys, and girls aren't always clearly girls. The ordering of chromosomes are many and beyond my comprehension. I was, after all, an art major, not a genealogy major. But let me quote the British NHS website, since such information is being scrubbed from US governmental websites. Some people have a chromosome pattern other than the usual X, Y, or XX. They may have one X chromosome, XO, or they may have an extra chromosome, XXY. Their internal and external sex organs can be either male or female, but they may not go through a full physical development at puberty. For example, a child with female sex organs may not start having periods. Now next, those born as boys don't always feel like boys inside, nor do those born as girls always feel like girls. Gender identity is a person's innermost concept of themselves as male, female, a blend of both, or neither. It's how individuals perceive themselves and what they call themselves. A person's gender identity can be the same or different from their sex assigned at birth. You may have heard the term gender dysphoria, which is the clinically significant distress caused when a person's assigned birth gender is not the same as the one with which they identify. Those with gender dysphoria may, with the proper support, be able to transition so that their internal knowledge of gender more closely aligns with their outward appearance. Now, while I didn't major in genealogy, I did go back and get my Master of Divinity degree. And while these chromosome patterns I described make a compelling case, I would suggest that the theological and cultural arguments make an even better one. In the first chapter of Genesis in the Hebrew Bible, it reads, "Then God said, 'Let us make humankind in our image, according to our likeness.'" Us? Our? This suggests to me that God's pronouns are they, them, and theirs. Traditional Judaism holds that God is completely non-corporeal and thus neither male nor female. Well, then the editors got to the next verse. So God created humankind in his image. In the image of God, he created them. Male and female, he created them. Guess which pronouns the binary enthusiasts latch on? And here's why, because if God is male, male is God. So, both male and female were created in the image of God. I think this certainly suggests that God is gender fluid at the very least. How could anyone suggest that members of the LGBTQ plus community are not made in the image of God? And in the words of the song, how could anyone ever tell you you were anything less than beautiful? In Chinese philosophy, yin and yang describe an opposite but interconnected self-perpetuating cycle. Yin is retractive, passive and contractive in nature, while yang is repelling, active and expansive. The dichotomy is seen throughout nature, in patterns of change and difference. Seasonal cycles, the evolution of the landscape, and yes, gender. Yin is female and yang is male, and fit together as two parts of a whole. But here's something I noticed. You can probably picture in your head the two black and white tadpole shapes curved around one another, but you may not remember that there are dots in each side representing the other side. As trans man and artist Mars Wright said, "My femininity makes me a better man." Each human carrying within themselves both male and female components is an inherent view in ancient Hinduism. These are considered forces rather than genders, and it is believed that the harmony between the two is what makes a true person. One of the forms of the Hindu god Shiva is Ardhanarishvara, which is the Hindu deity Shiva combined with his consort Parvati. Ardhanarishvara is depicted as half male and half female, equally split down the middle. There's a group whose identity originated in ancient Hinduism. The Hijras on the India subcontinent are officially recognized as third gender, considered neither completely male nor female. Most are female-identifying people assigned male at birth. In other parts of the world, throughout history, it has not been unusual for societies to acknowledge and even honor people who fulfill a gender role situated in the middle of the continuum between masculine and feminine. The Mehu are people who embody both the male and female spirit in Native Hawaiian and Tahitian cultures. They have traditional spiritual and social roles within the culture. In Ojibwe, a North American indigenous language, there were historically Ikwikazo, men who choose to function as women, and Inikazo, women who function as men. Contemporary indigenous people who fulfill these traditional third gender roles in their communities may be a part of the modern two-spirit community. Further south, in the Mexican state of Oaxaca, and in the Zapotec culture, a muxe is a person assigned male at birth and who adopts the feminine gender role, including dress, behavior, and social standing. Considered a third gender, their identity is also a preservation of Zapotec culture and customs. Besides these traditional and historic third genders, many cultures are now recognizing various non-binary gender identities. Non-binary and genderqueer are umbrella terms for gender identities outside the male-female gender binary. So I hope I've made clear that to insist that there's always been only two genders that are obvious and unchanging at birth defies science, logic, culture, and religion. Representative Sarah McBride, the first openly transgender member of the United States Congress, wrote, "Homophobia, transphobia, and sexism, they're all rooted in the same prejudice. The belief that one perception at birth, the sex we're assigned, should dictate who we are, who we love, how we act, and what we do." I've described this genetically and scientifically. I've described this culturally and theologically. And now I'd like to return to my plan that I mentioned earlier and describe it personally. I've done a variety of things in my life. I've been an artist, a waiter, an actor, a set designer, a writer and public speaker, and a minister and a preacher. Mostly creative pursuits. There's one thing I've learned about creating things and using your gifts in the world. Until you know who you are and are comfortable with who you are and your place in the world, you cannot be your authentic self, which means you're withholding your true self and all the wonderful things that make you, you. And until then, you can't be your best at whatever it is you're doing. I would have been a terrible minister right out of college. I had so much to learn about the world and learn and accept about myself. I look back and see a person who wasn't a great actor because I couldn't acknowledge who I really was. So how can I bring those unique aspects of myself to any character I was playing? In the best stories and speeches and sermons I have heard, the Creator is able to describe a universal truth distilled through their own personal experience. It'd be a cop-out to say, these ideas have been presented countless times before. What can I possibly add? The answer, of course, is you can add you. Sondheim told us in his musical Sunday in the Park with George, anything you do, let it come from you. Then it will be new. Give us more to see. If anyone, including yourself, is preventing you from being your true, authentic self, they are depriving you of enjoying life as your amazing self. They are depriving the world of the amazing gifts you and only you can share. Don't let them do it. No one in the world can tell you who you are better than you can. Whoever you know yourself to be, you are not only right, you are unique, and you are loved by this minister, this congregation, and whichever divine creator you envision. And please don't let anyone convince you otherwise. Amen.
If you take your gray hymnals and turn to number 323, Break Not the Circle, and join me in body and or in spirit.
Break not the circle of enabling love, where people grow forgiven and forgiving. Break not that circle, make it wider still, till it includes, embraces all the living. Come wonder at this love that comes to life, where words of freedom are with humor spoken, and people keep no score of wrong and guilt, but will that human bonds remain unbroken? Join then the movement of the love that frees, till people of whatever race or nation will truly be themselves, stand on their feet, see eye to eye with laughter and elation.
Please join me in reading the words to Extinguishing the Chalice, which can be found in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
I share this quote by UU minister Julian Jamaica Soto. You aren't hard to love. Your existence is a blessing. Your pronouns, or if you don't use them, aren't a burden. You're a dream fulfilled. Go forth this week and fulfill the dream of being you. Unabashedly be your authentic, beautiful, worthy self. Each of you is extraordinary. Now go forth in peace.
Every day is so wonderful, and suddenly it's hard to breathe. Now and then I get insecure from all the pain. I'm so ashamed. I am beautiful no matter what they say. Words can't bring me down. I am beautiful in every single way. Yes, words can't bring me down. Oh no, so don't you bring me down today. To all your friends, you're delirious, so consumed in all your doom, trying hard to fill the emptiness. The piece is gone, left the puzzle undone. Is that the way it is? You are beautiful no matter what they say. Yes, words can't bring you down. Oh no, you are beautiful in every single way. Oh yes, words can't bring you down. Oh no, so don't you bring me down today. No matter what we do, no matter what we say, we're the song inside the tune, full of beautiful mistakes. And everywhere we go, the sun will always shine. And tomorrow we might wake on the other side. 'Cause we are beautiful no matter what they say. Yes, words won't bring us down. No, no, we are beautiful in every single way. Yes, words won't bring us down. So don't you bring me down today. Don't you bring me down today.
Thank you for joining us. We want to know who you are and would love to connect with you. Please fill out the link to the online attendance form, and if you are on YouTube, click like and subscribe. If you're interested in joining our congregation, email us at membership@firstuuhouston.org. Thanks so much.